Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Stryve Golf Podcast. Devin here. With me is my main guy, Shawn. How's it going?
Same old man, just excited for the best part of my week.
Me too. I definitely look forward to this. I know we have to kind of shift some things with the new schedule for you. You're going back. There's the warm weather has come, or at least it's trending up north, and so you're back at the course.
Threatening, yeah. Yeah, we
Don't want to
our
scare it away and
course,
jinx it, but
yeah. No, I think we're here to stay as far as spring. I hopefully we're done with the snow. So the course I work at, South Mountain Golf Club, it sits up on kind of the bench, the little mountain. So the snow tends to hold on a little longer than a lot of the other courses in the Salt Lake Valley. So every other course had been open for a couple weeks, but we just barely opened this past weekend. And I mean, it was seriously like it was not even closed at all, right? Like the first
zombie
day it was,
apocalypse. Huh?
oh, the first day it was open, just tee sheet completely full. So we opened Thursday, and I'm pretty sure every tee time was taken Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Like some context, because I'm always interested in this kind of thing. So like $10,000 is considered a pretty good kind of money day for like at least our course.
Mm-hmm.
So we did $10,000 in revenue. That's considered a good day. The first day we opened this week, we rang up $22,000 in transactions.
Are
So
you kidding?
yeah, and I mean a lot of it's a little
People
skewed,
buying
right?
up
Because
people buying up season passes and stuff or
yeah,
punch
so we
cards.
sold a season pass or two, and then plus, if someone was calling on Thursday to make a tee time for Saturday or Sunday, we're ringing their card at that moment. So that's a
Yeah,
little different, but I mean, over the year it kind of evens out. But yeah,
that's
that's a
unreal.
huge day.
I I remember back, when I was working there too before I moved down here, and I always had the Saturday morning shift. So I would start. I mean, obviously in the summer, I'd get there pretty early around like 7, and then I'd go to about 1 or so. And I remember I always check and kind of see what the revenue was for the day, and I would leave, and it'd be like if we hit 10. I remember one day we hit like 12, and it was like, whoa, 12K by 1 o'clock. This is a good day. And this was like 2017, 2018, even 2019. Besides, we all know what happened in April, and we had the tiger effect. That was like, I'll never forget that. Like that next week after the Masters, like it's like, what happened here? Like everyone is out here playing golf. But I just remember that was crazy. Like if we could hit 10K, it was like, whoa, this was a solid good weekend. And now you're just, yeah, that's a slow day
And
now, I'm sure.
it's funny though, you're still, I mean, we're at year 3 now of the golf boom, and still, I'm working there Sunday afternoon, and the tee sheet's completely full. And so I still, every couple minutes, I'm getting a call. Hey, you got anything here in the next hour? My tee sheet is full. Oh, wait, really? Like, yeah, sir, you're the only one that had the idea to go play golf the first weekend of the year where it hits 75 degrees.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
you and like everybody else, my friend. So I still get a kick out of it when people are a little surprised. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's just it's the way it's working, at least. And I don't know, I don't follow the courses, like the public courses down where you are
Mhm.
as closely, but honestly, up here, I'd say Saturday, Sunday, and probably Friday, most of Friday, I would bet that most courses are running 80 to 90% of their tee times are taken pretty easily,
For sure. But yeah, and
which
I don't
is
follow
wild.
those courses too closely either. I try and stay as far away from them as I can, especially this time of year with spring break. Right? Like it's been the influx of people here Thursday afternoon, evening. Like seems like Thursday is the new Friday. It just seems like Thursday afternoon. It is just
Work
yeah.
from home,
It
right?
worked from the WFH and baby from the course. Yeah, we were kind of ahead of the curve there, man. We were trendsetters
Yeah.
because we were doing that before this. But yeah, so it's just the influx is crazy. And even at Bloomington, because you have a lot of, the season members, they can bring their families out, and, they just Friday, it's for this month, for March, April, I think like it's not surprising to show up there Friday afternoon and them not have any carts. So I can't even imagine the the city courses. Like I don't even want to think about those 6-hour rounds and shiny white legs just vibing out there. No, no, thank you. I'll stay away. But I mean, it's like this, like we talked about it before, right? Like it's such a, yeah, it's hard because like it's good. Like it's good that people are out and it's good that the game is, and I hate to say grow the game because it's like that's like a tainted thing now. But I will say like it is nice to like see, that there are a lot more people playing the game and enjoying it, which is great. Like I've never had so much interest from people that I know, from people in my neighborhood to people at my work that are inquiring, that are asking me about it. 'Cause I think most people just know me as kind of the golf guy, at least in my my circle, which is good or bad. But anyway, so it's good, but for course saturation, you hate to see it. But
Yeah, that's a good point. Like I do, as a whole, I think it's good, but I think that golf courses have not, I don't know how to phrase this the best way, but I don't think they've responded super quickly to the huge influx of new players and increase in demand, right? Like I feel like courses could do a little better job of handling the crowds, right? Whether it's staffing a little better so you have starters at more of these public courses, right? Like I think about where at the course I work at, um, and we got so bogged down because we started requiring prepayment for tee times, which I think is a really good thing, right? Because
it
no
is
shows
huge.
are the worst thing. No shows are the worst thing that can happen for a course's tee sheet. So prepaid tee times good. However, I feel like the people, there's usually one or two guys behind a counter at any given point. I feel like they're having to spend so much time answering the
On the phone.
phone,
Yeah.
taking tee times, collecting payments, that the course management takes a back seat. And so I feel like a golf course or these golf courses should do a little better job where they're like kind of rotating kind of their staff around a little bit to put people just in more effective
Mhm.
positions, right? To help overall flow at a golf course. And luckily the course I'm working at this year, they're going to push out an online tee time reservation and payment system, which has been a long time coming, for one, but two, hopefully
That'll help
like
remedy
free,
that phone
yeah, yeah,
call. Yeah.
yeah.
Because I
So
remember
free
that.
up
That was
kind of
hard.
logjam. Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I think it'd be pretty easy, like a position like me, like they're paying me $8 an hour or whatever, but I could do a variety of different things, right? I could go down and help people get loaded up on carts and facilitate being like a starter. So you have a nice constant flow of coming to like constant going off number one tee, right? So you don't have backups there. I still think more courses should employ like a marshal to just sort of drive around and make sure that if they see groups waiting to hit shots, like, okay, that's clearly a problem area, right? So go identify that, keep people moving along. So, like, I feel like courses can handle the people that they're getting a lot better than they're doing. And it wouldn't take a lot more effort or even resources on their part to like better take advantage of all these new golfers, right? Because you run the risk of you get this huge influx of golfers and couple bad apples or whatever are going to potentially like bog down a course for the whole day, right? So it leaves a bad taste in everyone's mouth. Like, oh, I'm never going to that course again. So like it
Mhm.
negatively impacts the course potentially. But I don't know. It's kind of a long-winded way of saying like influx good, but it's just making it harder to play golf when I don't think that should be the case, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's an interesting point, interesting perspective from someone like you that is working at a golf course on a weekly basis, and yeah, just trying to take the consumer standpoint of I agree that I think when I see a lot of staff out and I'm having a lot of touch points with the staff, like generally, I think it seems like for whatever reason, those outside folks are happier than the folks that are inside working the t-shirt, which, there's a lot of, reasons for that. But I do find like at those other courses, it's a pleasant experience. Yeah, they keep the pace of play, which is solid. And yeah, so I think the more touch points, the better, and not like, I don't know. I don't. There's a lot that could be said there, but I think that's an interesting perspective and a good take on how we can help with the influx, because it's definitely there, and they're collecting some the revenue is quite nice, but it's like, okay, well, where's that going, and could it be more to, and that's the thing, is a lot of these places, a lot of folks, you can get them to just do volunteer stuff, like to be a marshal, to just go around, hey, fix you know fix ball marks on the green, make sure the pace of play is good, make sure everyone's good, make sure everyone's happy, and just give them a free round of golf for that. Like, there's a lot of ways without just killing the overhead that you can help with things like that. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean, there's so much, and I get why they have to do it the way they do, right? There's usually like, okay, if you're going to work at a golf course, you usually have to work so many shifts a week or so many hours. And the reason they have to do that is because nobody wants to manage 100 different
Yeah.
employees, right? That's no fun. But he said it'd be nice to have like some give and take, right? So we could kind of get away. It's like, okay, this is just the way we've always done it. It's like, well, why? Let's just take advantage of this golf popularity and let's try some new things and
Yeah.
see what works and see how much we could improve the product with not a whole lot of extra effort, I think. But
Hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. That's just some of the frustrations I've seen, like starting to work at the course. I'm like, oh, what if we tried this? What if we tried this? But so much of it's like,
It's
well,
just
we've just not really
it's not
ever
how we do it.
done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't
Which
really want to try it.
yeah,
So
which is unfortunate when you're getting like government bureaucracy involved in golf courses and
yeah,
ownership. It just, that makes it pretty tough. So anyway, that could be a whole nother episode, and we could go down that for quite some time, as we've had some personal experience with that. But anyway, ultimately it's good. People are out there playing golf. It's great. And especially for you all, the with that warm weather. So I'm sure that was quite nice. Did you go out? Did you play, just hit balls? What was the
yeah.
outing for
So
you, with all the trying to
uh,
maneuver through all the
yeah,
people?
yeah. So it was mostly range time for me. The Our weekend of fun last week, I had to push back a lot of commitments to this previous weekend. So only
Yes.
had a only had a couple small windows of time, so I kind of dashed up to the range to hit some balls. But it got me thinking a little bit, just because you've moved away, but most of your life you've been up
Mhm.
in Salt Lake, right? So you've dealt with winter and having to hang the clubs up during those winter months, and just that excitement that comes, right? That first warm week of the year, right? How did you respond to that? Because obviously it gets warm, but the course conditions lag behind that, right? It usually takes, I don't know, 4 or 5 to 6 weeks of pretty solid spring weather before the courses start to kind of come back to life, and then you got to wait for them to turn their water on. Like, so it's kind of a process to get
Mhm.
courses up into kind of what we'd consider enjoyable, playable conditions.
Mhm.
But I'm always amazed every year come March, as soon as a course opens, like everyone just has to get out and play. Where did you
Yeah.
side out on that? Were you someone that's like, oh, I want to get out on the course as soon as I can, or do you like to let courses get in a little better shape? Where did you fall?
Yeah, 100% was getting out there ASAP, like, and just knowing that the course conditions were going to be kind of garbage, and just let that be the scapegoat for the back golf. But I could go to Mountain View and the greens is literally shaggy carpet and it's brown and it just doesn't look good. But yeah, I think back, and there's this weird part of me that kind of misses that, like misses the anticipation, the excitement of like looking on my phone and seeing, hey, 48 degrees, but if the wind stays down, we can get out there. And now it's like 48 degrees. I'm bunkering home. Like, I ain't going outside. So it's so stupid. Like, I'm such a softie now.
I
But
can attest to that, because last weekend you were looking at the forecast, and the Sunday it was going to be like 65 degrees with a 10-mile-an-hour breeze with a chance of rain. And I was getting
I'll be
some
in Sacrament
serious
meeting.
pushback. I was getting some serious pushback. I'm like, hey, dude, we can go play. And you're like, I don't know, man. Sunday's weather is going to be really terrible. I mean, I'm looking at 65 degrees, windy, a little bit around. Like, are you
Yeah.
joking me right now?
It's embarrassing to admit, especially because I've only been down here for like a year and a half. It's like, dude, like, come on, man. Like, so, but I don't know. It's crazy how that can skew your perspective. But I will say, like, yeah, I definitely was like, I remember talking, like, texting you, texting Pierce, texting the other guys, like, dude, like we could get out at the view. Southeast probably not open yet because it just doesn't get the sun where it needs to, and there's still snow. So we'll just have to get out somewhere else. And yeah, like I definitely was that one. Like I'm just first out. If I have to pay, because like for us, right, like we can only play our course before I think it's April. So it was like kind of biting the bullet knowing we were gonna have to pay. But to me, it was so worth it just getting out there and playing, especially like watching the golf tournaments. Cause I'm just the one, like if I'm watching basketball, if I'm watching golf, like yeah, I just have such an urge to go out and do it. So yeah, watching the golf tournaments leading up, it's just like get me out. Like I'm so ready to play. If I didn't already escape down to St. George prior and playing anyway. So but yeah, that's how I was. And I just like accepted the course conditions weren't going to be great, but that just means I can bump all my lies. It's a winter lie. get
For
that
sure.
teed up basically.
For sure.
So
Yeah, and I think I don't know, it's been crazy because I've always considered myself pretty golf fanatic, but it's just been put on steroids ever since I started working at a course and just knowing
yeah.
like I can just show up and it's funny. Like I seriously pretend like I own the place and I put in 5 hours a week up there, but I mean I strut around like I can do anything up there. So it's just
You park in
ever
that
since
front
I've
makeshift
yeah,
parking spot.
oh every time. No doubt about it. Reserved for VIP parking.
Not
That's
the
what
club
I'm
champ
doing.
no more. So it's Sean's spot.
um, so yeah, ever since I've started working at the course and just knowing like it's not going to cost any, like there's no
Yeah.
downside really. Like I'm just going to go
Yeah.
get swings up wherever I can.
Yeah.
So I think I've become even more of a golf sicko now. So it's like if there's no snow on the course and I can play it,
Yeah.
and knowing
That's
it's not going to cost me anything, I'm going to be out there.
that's right on brand for you. That's what I've anticipated for you. But yeah, it's weird. It's weird that I kind of missed that. I'm not gonna lie, like just this last year, just not having that because it's been so nice, especially this year. Like it's just the weather has been just unreal. And we've had like a couple weeks of like not great weather, but yeah, it's just been so nice. And I've just gotten so spoiled. And
I
I do kind of miss that.
And I know you miss it, but I would push back a little bit and say that I mean you probably moved down to St. George at like a 1 or 1.5 handicap, but I would argue to say you're pretty much down to a scratch now. So
It's
I do think the game has benefited a lot by
it
having no off season for you.
It definitely has, which is weird. Victor and I were kind of talking about that a little bit of just like the ability to stay in form has been crazy. Like for me, I being like we talked about already, like I'm definitely a field player. And again, that could be good, but as I mentioned, it could be bad. And I've seen phases kind of come in and out where I've just played so much golf that my feel kind of gets a little skewed and it gets off. And I find myself in these really weird, like I want to say, I'm not going to use the why. I'm not going to say yips, but I get in these lows with like certain aspects of my game where it's pretty bad. But luckily, I'm out there the next day pretty much. So,
Yeah.
I'm able to figure it out and fix it, which is nice. But yeah, I will say that the scores have been, yeah, definitely the best they ever have, and I would attribute that to the golf and the year-round golf. And it's interesting. We kind of talked about it, right? Like when we did our dear golf thing, like how our relationship with the game changes. And I think I know that, and it's brought that perspective. So I really am just trying to soak it all in now because I know, it will change as we, if we have more kids or if we move or whatever that may be. I'm not always going to have the relationship I have with it now when it's just like golf, golf, golf. And I haven't surprisingly gotten burnt out. I definitely thought I would, like in high school playing basketball, golf, and lacrosse. Like it was so nice because I would the last like couple weeks of the sport, I would be so burnt out. Like come, come golf towards the end, we do state. I'm like, I'm already kind of like it's cold out. I'm shifting into basketball phase. And then we go through basketball. And then the spring comes, I'm like, okay, I just want to play lacrosse. So like it was really perfect to have that for me. But now it's like I'm just golf all the time and I have no desire to do anything else. It's crazy. Like that where all the spare time and spare money goes, it's right into golf. And I don't even think twice. Like I don't have any, like people think I'm crazy for living in St. George and not being a mountain bike guy. I couldn't, it just not even crossing my mind. So it's been interesting that I have not felt burnout, which I thought I would, even when I first moved down here. It's like, I think this could potentially be that, but I haven't. So just
Yeah.
basking. I hate to throw that in your face. I feel a little dirty talking about it like this, but
And
it's just the
it's
reality.
I mean, it's something I completely relate to, because I get, it's the same feeling too, where people ask me, "Oh, what do you like to do?" And I legitimately, all I can think of or say is golf.
Yeah.
And it's like, "Oh, that's it." I was like, "No, like I don't know if you realize it's literally all I do in my free time."
It's a
Like I can,
scary obsession.
yeah. So I mean, obviously, I can give you my schedule every day where I wake up. I gotta wake up early. And if I'm gonna work out, it has to be early in the morning. So I work out. I go to work, and any kind of break I have, like if I'm taking a lunch break and it's warm, it's at the golf course. Like I'm hitting balls or putting. Or if I was working at home, I'm hitting golf balls in my garage during lunch. It's like, and I finish the work day, eat dinner, obviously like try to catch up with my wife and hang out with the baby. But like my wife can attest to this. Like as soon as I put she puts the baby down and kind of feeds him, and while she's feeding him, I'm like trying to squeeze in like putts or swings as much as I can, right? Until like he's down, and then I can and spend more time with my wife. But it's like if any kind of opening, like it's like I constantly have a club in my hand or something. Like, oh, I can go get 3 swings in or something. So it's like, I don't know. It's just the only way to describe it is I'm such a golf sicko, and it's I don't know. I mean, at some point, like you said, I look at it as like, okay, I'm probably gonna have to grow up at some point. And I don't know. I feel like sometimes I'm getting caught up, like, and why I'm trying to play golf so much. And I do feel like I'm still letting golf achievements try to get in my way, kind of thing. Like I want to qualify for tournaments and playing tournaments and like that. And I do think that obsession kind of gets in the way of not just like my golf life, but life in general. And so yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of the balancing act I'm trying to do. But like seriously, at the end of the day, like all I want to do is play golf.
Yeah.
If I've got free time. So it brings me the happiness. So
Yeah, it's true. And I know our wives are probably shaking their head if they were to listen to this. They'd be like, "You guys are ridiculous." But hey, we need it, man. We need the escape. We need to keep the competitiveness juices flowing, and yeah, because basketball at this point just frustrates me. Like, and I default like I do it just for cardio, but I suck, and so it
my
makes me so mad, and so I rule the day when that will be golf, like where I'm just not able to do things I was able to do. But ultimately, I
yeah,
just yeah, it's
that
hard
that's it.
because go ahead.
I was gonna say my worry with other sports like basketball, or even like I like to ski quite a bit, but it's gonna sound like such an old man. But my worry is if I hurt myself playing basketball or
Yeah, playing
skiing,
golf,
I'm thinking about, okay, how much golf time is gonna cost me? Like if I
dude.
do my ACL playing basketball, like that's probably at least 6 to 7 months I'm not gonna be able to play golf.
100,
Or like the
yeah.
dreaded like Achilles injury, like that's a whole golf season done.
Yeah. And dude, that's something Victor talks about all the time, man. He won't even play basketball anymore. He's like, I'm not. The last thing you want to do is put yourself on IR, man. Can't be on the IR report. So I totally get that. That kind of rules our decisions. But again, like we've talked about, and the whole purpose of this really is just the joy that golf brings. It's hard to put into words, and just the experiences that we have. It's just so much more than the 18 holes that you play. And kind of got a little taste of that this weekend, just meeting up with some guys and doing got asked to participate in this like little brand shoot, and just met some really cool dudes that are, again, outside of golf. Like I probably wouldn't like be the first ones to like reach out to them. And they grew up like not anywhere where I'm from, and there's just a lot of that. But golf brought us together, and we were with each other all day, and it was super enjoyable. And anyway, so just like kind of building those relationships, expanding the network, and just all focused on you know our love for golf like immediately brought us like really tight, and just feeling like all like these barriers just automatically came down, and we were able to have really good conversations. So I don't know, it was really cool. And so again, just circling back on the whole purpose of this thing, and the cool people that we'll meet in that unexpected way has been cool. So anyway, I was totally off. We're kind of off the rails, but it's usually how these things go. But anyway, it's good stuff. So I did have some things that I wanted to kind of go over. Was I saw this? I don't know who. Someone reached out and was like, "Hey, you should like look at this golf page and kind of go through some of these questions," because I kind of did a poll, and it was a this or that in golf. And I thought these were really interesting. So I did want to ask some for you, Shawn, and I'll answer two, but there's just 5 that I thought were really interesting, and we'll do more and I think as we get other people on, like asking them, I think it could spark a lot of interesting perspective and opinion. And I'd be curious if me and you if we would answer the same way. So are you cool with that? Can we run through just 5 of these of this or that and tell us why?
Yeah, fire away.
Okay. We'll start with this one. So it's, which golf superpower would you rather have? Sink every putt inside of 8 feet, or put every wedge shot to 20 feet or better? I want to answer for you because it's so obvious. If I was you, what I would pick.
Oh yeah. So I mean, like I think this one's you could look at it statistically, numbers, whatever. You got to do the putting. Any putts under 8 feet, because it's not, especially because my qualifier would be, would I maintain my wedge ability that I already have?
Yes, that was my point. Was like, dude, Shawn does this all the time anyway. So it's just the putt thing. So 100%.
Literally, because like right now, the only putts I'm making are the wedges if I'm hitting it close. Like last weekend in St. George when we played, I had, I think, I don't know, I can't remember how many birdies I made. I know there was a stretch where I made 3 birdies though, and the putter was not used for any of them. So that's where I'm making birdies right there. Is if the putter doesn't even have to come out of the bag.
Your total length of putts made is not strong, but when they're just kick-ins, it doesn't matter. So that's awesome. Yeah, that one was pretty easy. That's kind of what I anticipated. I'm like, I'm just gonna answer this for you because it's a pretty obvious, and I would obviously pick the same. So,
which is funny because you already make everything under 8 feet anyway. So that's
all right, what this is a good one. This is a really good one. What is a worse feeling? Hitting a nice fairway bunker shot, but it catches the lip, or leaving a greenside bunker shot in the same bunker? So like hitting it and not getting it out of the bunker. What's the worst feeling?
I gotta say dumping the greenside bunker, because if I pure a fairway bunker, I'm taking that one to just, I'm euphoric about that, because my chances of hitting a good fairway bunker shot are pretty minimum. So even if I skull it into the lip after puring it, then that's on me for picking the wrong club. But if I dump one in a greenside bunker, that's on me for making a bad swing.
That's a good perspective. I chose the opposite. I said there's hitting a pure, because I do that a lot, as you know. Bloomington, when it was redone, Mr. Blair did a very good job of putting bunkers everywhere that people like us would hit, would hit drivers. But so
I don't think there's any bunkers left in the world. I think Bloomington took every bunker on every golf course in the world and just put it into the landing areas on every tee,
and put all ounce of sand in the fairway bunkers, which makes it worse. But there's just nothing more frustrating than just feeling like you just absolutely clip ball first, it's pure, and then hearing that followed immediately after by that thud of the lip. So I
usually followed by a 4-letter word right after the thud.
Absolutely.
It's a good sequence.
It's a natural byproduct there.
I will say your score, you're probably 9 times out of 10 going to make a worse score if you pure a fairway bunker shot, hit a lip, as opposed to dunking the greenside bunker shot, which is kind of an interesting component about golf. You think, if you hit a good swing, I got a better chance of making a good score, but not always the case.
Yeah, 100%. That's good. So this next one this is tough, and I'm still like dabbling. I can't really decide, but I think I have my answer. This one's really hard. It's a good question. So, deal or no deal? No golf for 5 years starting now, but then after that 5 years, you don't have to pay for anything golf related ever again. Deal or no deal?
I think I gotta go no deal. And I
Oh,
say that because
the
I think the
accountant.
next
Breaking
no,
news.
yeah, yeah. This is good. I'm trying to break the accounting mold. But I would say no deal because ignoring this would you rather scenario, I think I'll have the ability to play more golf in the next 5 years just from like a time standpoint,
Yeah.
but also like a physical standpoint too, right? Like I don't want to say that I'm getting old, but like 5 years from now I'll be 35 years old. It's like you start to feel things at that point, right?
Uh,
So
that's
I don't think
yeah.
I'll ever have it. And it's I mean the previous 5 years I played more golf than I will for at any point in my life, and so the next 5 years I'm not going to play as much, but I'm still
Right.
going to play a
Still in your
decent
prime.
amount. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and if I took 5 years off of golf, I'd be scared the first
Picking up
couple
again.
rounds out. I don't know if I would be able to. I might. That'd be hard. Would I
Yeah.
have to like relearn the game? I have no idea.
Yeah. That's funny because yeah, I was like, as I was evaluating the question, it was like immediately, it's like, oh yeah, dude, like, of course, like, why not? And then like all your abandoned trips for the rest of your life, all your Pebble Beach trips, your trips to, Pinehurst, that's all covered. Like, but I also would say no deal. Like, a lot can change in a couple months, especially in 5 years. So I just,
And
yeah, and I'm for whatever reason, you can my wife can attest, I'm okay spending my money go on golf related things. So yeah,
and
that's a no deal for me.
I mean I could take it even further. Like I'm I I don't think it would be a stretch if you could say, okay, you can go play Pebble Beach a year from now if you don't touch a golf club for the next 12 months, or even like it could be maybe 6 months, 3 months potentially. Like I don't want to go any extended kind of time
Yeah.
without golfing. I'm traveling for work right now, so I'm in California for like 2.5 days, and I'm not gonna be able to do anything golf related, and it's
You're
literally
itching.
destroying me inside.
That's why
So
we're
it's like
doing this. We're trying to scratch that golf
yes,
itch for you.
yes, I
We
can
pushed
count
it
this as
today.
my practice. Count this as my practice for the day.
It's all in the
My
mental
mental
game.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. Generally speaking, the people who work in the pro shop, nice, not nice. This is hitting close to home with with you being one of those guys. But what are your thoughts there?
I I would say hmm, the whole nice, not nice is kind of hard to throw into a bucket. But I would
Generally.
lean, yes, I would lean. I mean, you don't get a lot of like warm, friendly at a golf course, I think, in the pro shop. So from that sense, I would say like what you would think of like nice or not nice. I think I'm leaning not nice.
Yeah.
And it, not because they're like trying to be mean, but you just don't get a lot of hi, welcome to the course, yada yada yada. A
Yeah.
lot of like like you'd get it like a I don't know, welcome to the resort kind of thing.
Yeah.
That
That's
makes
where I
sense.
think where it's hard to answer. I mean, generally as soon as I saw this, immediately not nice. Like it wasn't even a thought. At least because in my experience growing up, playing, getting into like just before getting into high school, the courses I was playing, the county courses, I don't know if it's compensation, I don't know what it is, but dudes are not going above and beyond to make any friends. So I would definitely say not nice. Like, and I kind of told my first experience, right? Like with my dad and I in the golf course, and it was not great. And it was shocking how that kind of continued in a trend where I just thought people who work in golf hate it. They hate working in golf. They hate retail because it is like, it's not super easy. Like you are working retail hours. You are dealing with a lot of pretty stupid people. Like I can attest to that for sure. And it does get kind of difficult. But I would just say overall, definitely not nice. But I do think you're right. Like in outside of like when I went to Chambers Bay, both times I've been to Chambers Bay, some of like the nicest people I've ever met, like in the golf shop, people driving the little bus to take you down. Like every person I talked to, the caddy master guy, like everyone was super tight, super nice. And it was like such a relief. I'm like, man, this is how it should be. But again, you're comparing apples and oranges with, Riverbend and Chambers Bay. But overall, I think that it's for whatever reason, in those courses, it's just they're not nice. But to their, in their defense, working 4 years in a pro shop, there is times where you want to do your best, like you want to be nice, you want to let people, you want to accommodate them to your best of your ability. But man, some of the events, and we'll save that because we have some incredible course stories, and we will get that. That will be an episode for sure of just mind-numbing things that have happened. But anyway.
And I mean, I would say from like how I handle being a fellow pro shop employee, I would say I try to match my mood entirely to the person that's walking in.
For sure.
Like if they're,
because it doesn't, you can tell right off the rip, man. Like,
yes,
for sure.
100%. So it's like, at the end of the day, I'm just mirroring whatever I get.
For sure.
And so saying that, like, I could think of like, okay, maybe some of the experiences that I've had in pro shops where I haven't got a very warm welcome from the employee. Maybe it's just because it's the way I walked into, right? Because I'm not typically one to show a lot of emotion to someone I've never met, right? I probably come across as kind of serious or boring, or like I didn't do anything as the customer to show the employee like, oh, hey, this person wants energetic or
for sure
happy or crack a joke or something. So I do have to offer that caveat.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a good point. And I would say I'm kind of, I can definitely relate to that, but I'd say generally I'm a little bit opposite to that at some points. But anyway, yeah, that's a good point. So I would just say generally not nice. But
yes.
All right, last one. This is one that I it's probably not a popular choice on my end, but so you can play with Tiger Woods, but you aren't allowed to talk to him the entire round, or you can play with another tour pro and talk as much as you want. Would you rather play with Tiger in silence or with another tour pro and freelance it?
100% another tour pro for sure.
Wow, shocking.
Yeah.
I thought you were for sure gonna go with the silent Tiger.
I love Tiger as much as anybody, but one of the things I love about Tiger is just he is a golf sicko, right? Yeah. And so there's so much beyond just him hitting the ball, right? Like his experiences, how he thinks through things, how he thinks about the game and all that. Like if I was in person with Tiger, I want to have the ability to ask a question or two like that. So if I have to if that means like, okay, I'm only ever gonna maybe a happenstance run into him at his restaurant or Florida or something. So I could quickly ask a question. I would rather do that as opposed to play 4 hours of golf with him in silence. There's so many tour pros I think would be cool to hang out with that. If given this kind of choice, I'm going with the tour pro route because the Tiger scenario here to me, it's like, well, I might as well just go buy a ticket to a tour event and just follow him for 18 holes.
Yeah. Yep. That was my thought. So yeah, I definitely was like, yeah, I'll definitely play with another tour pro and be able to talk. So I don't know why that surprised me. I just thought most people like, oh, to see that up close and to, do all that could be so valuable even without any words, nonverbal communication. But anyway, that's fine. So again, there's a lot of other ones that I, was kind of looking at that are super interesting that I'm excited to ask some other folks and get their thoughts. But we were pretty similar on those besides maybe one, which I'm surprised, but
shocker, right? You're talking to the guy that's like, oh, Devin, what driver did you just buy? I'll go buy that one too.
Send me the specs. I don't need to swing it. It's It's good stuff. Anyway, thanks for indulging me there. Cause as I was kind of running through those, I was like, I wonder what Shawn would say. Or I wonder, what this person would have an opinion on. And anyway, just thought I could spark some funny convo. So well, that's all. I want to run through those. So, let's do a quick recap. I know we've been going for a little bit here, but the recap on the match play, the WGC, that was sick. Like that was so enjoyable. I loved it. I thought it was so good for a little change up, and it's crazy to think not even maybe like 40 days ago, a little over 30 days of Scotty Scheffler gets his first PGA Tour win, and now he's number one in the world. Like that's quite the turnaround time. So take us
that escalated
take us to
quickly.
Austin Country Club, man.
Yeah, I would say that this is the most of this event I've ever watched for whatever reason. And man, I loved it. I love this golf course. I love how it works with match play.
Mm-hmm.
Just this course to me is Pete Dye, like the best kind of Pete Dye, right? Like Sawgrass, the stadium concept, I get what they're trying to, or what he was going for, and he did accomplish like the stadium aspect of golf with Sawgrass. But this course in Austin, like this is where you get truly like rolling hills, collection areas, a lot of risk reward type of things. Like I won't get into the tournament in a second, but just from a golf course perspective, it's hole number, like there's a couple like this, but hole number 5, it's a shortish par 4 that guys they have the option of either kind of lay back to sort of a kind of a flatter area and you've got 70 yards into the green, or if you hit a longer club, like you're going to land on the downslope, the ball is going to run all the way up to the green. So guys are driving it up and around the green pretty much all week or laying back. And it was just the perfect short par 4 because it was, I can't remember. I think it was, man, I watched so much golf, but I think it was Saturday in one of the matches I was watching where one guy drove it, ended up driving it over the back of the green. And another guy drove it. Ball got up onto the green, but then it crawled down a false front. So they both had like little pitch shots, literally just off the green.
Mm-hmm.
And both of them walk off with par kind of thing. Just because
best players in the world.
Like, yeah, just the angles of the pin and the slopes on the green, and just that risk reward. Like, okay, you can go for the green and you're gonna have a little chip shot, but the way it was set up, neither guy had any chance of getting their chip shot closer than 10 to 12 feet. So you're just gonna have to make a 10 to 12 foot birdie putt. And then flip side, like, okay, if you lay back, that just means you're trying to land it in that small window from further back.
Trying to hold the green, yeah.
Yeah, or like maybe you get a good bounce on your drive and the ball catches the funnel of the green and ends up next to the pin. So like to me, that's what I love about short par 4s in this kind of golf course, where it's like if you make a good swing, it's going to take a little bit of luck to get close.
Yeah.
And you got to kind of take the consequences of, like, I think there should be some punishment up around the green if you're trying to drive it. So I think there's a lot of instances on this golf course like that. A lot of the par 5s have big sloping collection areas. So if you're going for it in 2 and the pin's up front, if you hit it 5 yards too far, that ball's rolling all the way to the back of the green and you have just a mega putt. Like 3 putts definitely in play, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you couple that with match play where you're basically playing 18 mini tournaments against another guy, right? So you want to make birdies. It's not just you want to make birdies, you want to have scoring opportunities, and then just that concept, right? So I just the course and the format go together very well. I'd say as well, just about as well as any tournament that they might play on tour.
Yeah.
In my mind.
Yeah, and there's an interesting thing that I was reading from so Andy Johnson, he's the Friday guy. I don't know if you do you follow them pretty often. I really like I love their stuff, and I love their newsletter. So, shout out to Fried Egg for that. Again, we're running free ads, baby. But shout out to them. But they have some really cool stuff. Their newsletter is really interesting. And something that he talked about was that the first year he covered the WGC match play at Austin Country Club, there was a PGA Tour executive that told him that the course, as good as it is, it will never host a real stroke play event, just because tour players find it just too severe and kind of unfair, and so it works perfectly because they can swallow a lost hole as opposed to making a triple or a quad. And so it really is like, it's kind of like unfortunate, but it's also just so sick that we have, the match play to fit so well at this golf course, and just to see how different it would be interesting to see how different they play it if it was a stroke play event as opposed to match play, which I really just think proves how good of a course it is for match play for that exact reason. So yeah, I love that. I love the course. I love that the ball is on the ground. It's rolling. There's undulation. There's hills. The guys are really kind of stressing a little bit, which is cool to see. And then you have the guys like the low ball hitters like Kevin Kisner that were deeper than him by a good amount, and he's contending. And then you have the Dustin Johnsons and Kepkas and guys that just absolutely rip it. Scotty Scheffler, obviously, that rips it. So it is cool that can even that out, and that threat of the bomb and gouge and the distance is kind of neutralized with the course, which I thought was awesome.
And I know we touched on it briefly last week about how they've switched to this pod system, right? Where you have you're grouped with three other golfers, and you have one guy that advances out of that group right into the Sweet 16, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I know last week I talked about how, like, yeah, I do like the pod system because it gives guys kind of a second shot, right?
Right.
Especially some of like your better players in the world that you want to see advance. It gives them a shot. But seeing it play out over the week, I found it interesting that Kisner did not lose a match all week until the championship match where he lost to Scotty Scheffler, right? Scotty Scheffler, he lost one of his pod matches and had to advance in like this playoff to get out of the group stage, pretty much.
6 holes, I
So
think.
my
I want to
yeah,
say.
yeah,
And
he outlasted Fitzpatrick. So
and he
my,
had a
my thought
putt.
was like,
Fitzpatrick had a
oh
putt,
yeah,
to send him home. It's like, how different that be if that one putt drops,
yeah. And so my thought is like, how, have I changed tunes on how I feel about it? Do I think it should just be strictly single elimination? Because like Scheffler
Mhm.
lost one of his first matches and then
Right.
he still ends up winning the whole thing, whereas Kisner didn't lose all week until
Right.
the championship.
Right.
So I thought it made me think a little bit, especially I'm like, man, do I have to back take
Yeah.
my
That,
opinion a little bit?
and if you noticed, I didn't give an opinion because I gave an opinion on the whole format of match play, which is sick. But I didn't give like an idea on the pod system, just because I don't I don't I don't know. I wanted to kind of like view it and digest it a little bit better, because I default to just, I like the straight up, March Madness type. Like you got your players. It's just single elimination. It's easy to follow. You know what you have to do. So I kind of defaulted to that. But I'm like, maybe this pod system will, after watching it, I could change my opinion. But I think I stay with kind of my gut, which is I kind of like the single elimination, just kind of the old OG bracket system. Go in there, who you have to play. And I think it's just mostly it's just a coverage thing that's kind of hard, but also I just found it was really difficult to follow. Like, I didn't really
Yes.
know who needed to do what in order to advance. And like, I can only imagine for me. And of course, the biggest idiotic takeaway was, this is the one week I didn't utilize my ESPN Plus subscription. I was too busy doing other stuff, and I was like looking forward to it, because I feel like that would have been perfect, because you can choose from the different ones as opposed to just the main feed on like the Golf Channel and stuff. But I was an idiot and didn't use it, which probably would have helped, but I just felt kind of confused. I'm like, come like Thursday and then like Friday, I'm like, I don't really know what Spieth has to do to win the pod. And like, I can only imagine people like my dad, like if he were to turn it on a Friday, he'd probably be like, what the heck is going on? So that's why I just like, it's just simpler. It's cleaner to just do, okay, here's your bracket, single elimination, you win, you advance, you lose, you go home. And I just think that, like, to your point of, like, giving the guys another opportunity, I just think that, like, as I looked down all those names, there was maybe like one or two that I'm like, I don't really care about them. I don't have like an opinion, but like the fields are so deep and there's so many good golfers that I feel like
Yeah.
regardless of what happens, there will be some good, some really good golf and good players. But again, that's just to us, like being hardcore golf fans. The more like casual fans, I don't really know if they know who like Maverick McNeely is, or who these other guys are. So it's like maybe they, or even Corey Connors, like they may not even know that. But I don't know. That's my thought. But overall, like it was still sick. But I just, as far as the setup in the pod, that's what I would prefer, I think.
Yeah. And I think I'm flipping as well. I do think it'd be nice just for a straight up single elimination.
Yeah.
Just
But
having seen the way the week played out. But all in all, really fun.
so good.
And do you think, would you like to see more of this in a calendar season or tour season, whatever you
It's
want to
hard.
call it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I was kind of thinking about that too. Victor and I were talking about it because, like, I am such a fan of match play. Like, I love match. I wish match play was played way more in just amateur golf, like in tournaments that we play. Like, I just feel like it's just so much better than the stroke play. I don't know. I could go on for days, but I do also think that it just really makes me look forward to this. It's kind of like the Augusta Masters thing where it's like, this one time a year, I would really enjoy it. Maybe one more time, I think would be sick. But I don't know. I think for the professionals, like the PGA Tour, I think it's really good, and I think it's in moderation, and it's good. But I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to say like yes, but like I don't know. I know for like the logistics of all that is really hard to do, and like sponsorships and doing all that crap. Like I don't know. I just don't know how like they could actually scale a match play stuff. But so yeah, I think for now it's like I'm just glad they have it, and so I would just, that's kind of where I net out ultimately.
Yeah. I mean, where I side pretty similar, where it's like, I don't think they're going to change it to the extent where it'd be like way different and like a lot more interesting for me in the sense where it's like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, I'd like more match play, but I want them to like go even crazier, right? Like say they do a 2-day stroke play tournament one week, right? And then the top 64 people from that would advance to a match play field of 64 guys the following week or whatever.
Mm,
And maybe that's on a different course or something, but it's
mm.
just too hard because then you have to get guys to commit to like 2 weeks in a row,
Yeah.
and there's
Yeah.
like some
That's
uncertainty with sponsors, and then you got TV issues
exactly.
and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
But
It's just hard to
like in my
scale, like
mind,
logistics, but
yes,
mhm.
I would love to see. Those are some of the tournament changes I would like to see, like really far out there. That'll never happen, right? Because of TV and all this other
Right.
stuff you're fighting. But
Right.
like, I do think match play yields itself to some really fun potential new tournaments. But
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. For sure. But yeah, it was so much fun watching. And like, uh, do you have like a favorite match that you watched of like
oh,
throughout the week?
um, Saturday, would it have been Saturday? Yeah, Saturday when Kepka played Rom and then played DJ.
Yeah.
Like that's some big time golf right there.
Yeah.
Um, it was really fun to watch. That
Yeah, I
was
would.
Saturday was just good, man. That was just some good stuff. And
Yeah.
I mean, it was really good to see DJ played well again, like for the first time in a really long time. Like he's fallen out of the top 10.
Yeah. It's because he went
So
back
he's
to the OG spider, man. That black spider, baby.
and just I mean that to me shows just kind of how freaking on fire Scotty Scheffler is right now. Because like DJ had not, like Kepka challenged DJ, but DJ still put him away pretty easily. And
Yeah.
then like Scotty Scheffler just freight trained
Yeah.
DJ, which was crazy.
Yeah.
Just how good he's playing. But yeah,
Yeah.
I would say my two favorite matches were Koepka and Rahm, and Koepka and Dustin Johnson. What about you?
Yeah. Like it's hard. I didn't watch the whole thing, but obviously the Kevin Kisner, Adam Scott being 3 down with
Oh,
4 to go.
that was
Unreal. The most
crazy.
Kisner thing ever. And it just, I hate to
This
admit it.
ain't no hobby, man.
Ain't no hobby. His name's on that bag for a reason. A lot can be said about him too. But I hate to say it, but you know, if it was going to be anyone to do that, it was going to be Adam Scott, which, you know, you hate to see it. I love the guy, gorgeous swing, just a good looking man, but man, is he struggling closing some stuff out. So yeah, not surprised, but it just kind of felt like, oh man, like after he held out from the bunker, it's like,
He was
oh,
like, well, this is Kisner's now.
it's done. You might as well just take your hat off and concede now, because
don't even worry about extra holes. Let's see. Kisner's got
he's got
he, 3
my
down.
math's not great, but I think he's got enough to win, you know. Yeah, so
he's winning every hole.
That was sick. And then just like the short one, it was my favorite to see Zalatoris put out Kevin Na. I cannot. I hesitate to give these takes, but I'll just say sufficient to say I'm not a fan of Kevin Na in any way, shape, or form. And it was just great. It was great to see him. It was great to see Zalatoris close on, because I love Will Zalatoris. He's a stud. So that was, for whatever reason,
putted great this week. Zalatoris
said it was you know, it's a little iffy, but just ball striking, it's just incredible. So those are probably my favorites. Like I said, Saturday I was gone all day long, so didn't get to watch much of it. But yeah, shout out to Scotty Scheffler. The guy is just, he's definitely, it was honestly shocking to find out that he was, with a win, would become number 1 in the world. But like, as you think back, like he's definitely the best player in the world right now, like not even remotely close. Like, I don't know, maybe Cam Smith, because, you know, like the run he's had, but it still is like the guy is just on something special. So
yeah, and I think it's kind of another Tiger thing I take for granted too. And I will never profess to know how they calculate world rankings at all. Just, I'm not interested in ever learning. But with Tiger was just so far ahead in those ranking points or whatever. Yeah. Like, he was never going to get caught until he took a year or 2 off of golf, right? But where it's at now, they're probably, like, mathematically, there's probably 5 to 10 guys where if they go on a heater like Scheffler's gone on, they can get to number 1 in the world.
Yeah, short term, yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting to see the staying power, because it's like, if you ask me, is he going to be the number 1 ranked player in the world for the next 52 weeks or like a year? I'd say probably not, just because of like Rahm and
so
Hovland.
Hard to maintain, and
like Scheffler could win 1 or 2 more times, have a bunch of top 10s, bunch of made cuts, and he could still fall to 2 or 3 a year from now if Hovland wins 2 majors or something, right?
Right. Or he can have kind of pull a Spieth a little bit in 2015 at kind of a similar age of just going on an absolute heater and kind of having a career year this young in his career. Like, that is a possibility. Like, it's just sustaining that is just so hard.
Especially because, I mean, even in his little run to make it to number 1 in the world, I think he's probably made like 6 million or whatever just in winnings.
Real quick.
So it's like, at the end of the day, I mean, these guys are human, right? Like, Tiger was an alien, but a lot of these guys, you get that much money in the bank knowing like, okay, I will, unless you're Phil and you gamble it all away, I will never. Sorry, I had to throw a Phil jab.
Of course, you just had to.
A lot of these guys, like, there's got to be a point where your bank account has enough zeros and you can start to think, I will not have to worry about money ever again.
Yeah.
My kids won't have to worry about money.
Yeah.
My extended family won't have to worry about money. And I just wonder if, like, once that kind of sets in, at that point, it's like, okay, I can let my foot off the gas a little bit.
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of what happened. Like, good example of Rory. Like, you know, it's just like, how much more does another win, or
what's
maybe
left to
one more
accomplish
major besides the Masters, right? That's the obvious one. But like, outside of that, it's like, what else is a couple more million in your bank account going to do and he's kind of talked to it, so yeah, it is like, it's very hard to sustain, but it's just exciting that like, yeah, it's like, I don't know if this devalues the number one ranking in the world. Like, I don't think that it does, but I just think that it's just, there's going to be a lot of turnover in that position, which is how deep
Right.
golf is.
There have never been more good professional golfers, like great professional golfers in there right now. And I mean, I run into this all the time, like with basketball, right? I'm like, oh, this is the golden generation of the NBA. It's never had this many athletic players or this many good players. And you get all these old timers like, oh, back in the 80s or whatever. And it's like, I obviously I didn't watch it or haven't gone back and watched film or any of that. So like, I hesitate to say like, oh, golf is way better now than it was in the 80s and 90s. But I mean, I do think that that's not an argument at all. Like, there are so many better players,
right,
top to bottom on the PGA Tour than there have ever been.
Oh yeah, not even close. Yeah.
And so like we'll never get a reign of dominant. Like, you're not going to see a Nicklaus or a Palmer or Woods, but from an entertainment value, like I think it can be just as exciting knowing that there's so many different guys that can just play just out of this world golf any given week. Right. And you just got to appreciate it.
Right. Yeah, no, it's true. And it's awesome that, again, just kind of with the Saudi thing, man, it's like, dude, if like you said, if you guys, you Lee Westwood, you Kevin Nas, you Jason Kokratz, if y'all want to leave, it's fine. We're just going to get better stories coming in anyway. So yeah, anyway, but so yeah, I think that wraps it up pretty good. Awesome tournament, and love the format, love match play, and shout out to little Scotty. I wonder when is he going to just be Scott? I don't know. That's always the.
I love the running. I love the no laying up gag they do about how old he is or whatever.
He does seem like he's like the oldest
old man,
5 or 24-year-old on earth. Yeah, it's kind of.
It's hilarious.
Bo Hossler is kind of that same way too. I feel like I'm like, man, I feel like
old soul.
It's like, what do you do? But you're so young, and anyway. Speaking of Bo Hossler, he's actually one of my picks for the upcoming. So take us to the Valero, man. I know this is obviously it's not a ton. Like, I don't know, the week before the Masters. That's kind of hard to precede that. But last year was kind of a one-off with Spieth's comeback and his awesome win. So I do remember watching a ton of it last year. But let's just take some quick picks before we wrap up on that. So go ahead and start us off, as you got the dub last week with your default pick seemed to be working with Scotty. So go ahead.
Running Scotty. I'm riding his gravy train. Yeah, so this will be a little surprising. So Rory McIlroy is in the field this week, but I'm not going to pick him. Because spoiler alert, I'll be picking him for the Masters. But nobody has ever won the week before the Masters and the Masters. So
you can't pick him. Your hands are tied.
I don't want to put that on him. Don't put that on me, Ricky Bobby. All right, so first pick for me this week. Glad to see him back. Haven't heard much about him for a couple months now, but Hideki Matsuyama.
Yeah.
Matsuyama. Let me butcher that here. Gosh, it is. Let me just preface it. It is very late for me right now. I had to wake up very early for a flight, so bear with me.
California time. It's a good pick, solid pick. So yeah, Bo Hossler is going to be one of my picks. I don't know, maybe it's just the Texas thing. I don't know, but that's who caught my eye this week.
All right, good one. And he's been playing pretty well too lately. All right, my second pick, going with Abraham Answer. Thought he showed really well in the match play.
Honest Abe.
He made it all the way to the quarters. He beat Colin Morikawa 7-6.
Blitzed him
in the round of 16. So to win 7-6 in an 18-hole match, like, you're doing something right there. So Yeah, I think he's playing well, so I'm going to go with him this week.
I like it. Okay, I'm gonna go with Maverick McNeely. Felt like he was, he played really well too, all things considered, after, with the match play, and was able to get in and find some form. So I'm gonna go with him for my next pick. Kid's a
Awesome.
stud, low key stud.
Yeah, he's really good. And I was reading kind of some previews for this week, and there's a lot of people picking him to pull one out this week.
Okay, that's good.
All right, third pick for me. Just another one of those. It's hard not to pick him just because he's so likable. But Harry Higgs.
Big beautiful.
Oh, for sure.
Love to see that. Okay, I'm gonna go with an interesting one. This is an older pick, Zach Johnson, and I'm gonna pick him because I can empathize with the guy who keeps hitting his ball on his practice swings. I hate to admit it, but I just have I have this extension in my swing with it when it comes to the driver and like a 3-wood or a hybrid. So I have pulled the Zach Johnson a few times. Unfortunately, it's very embarrassing. So I can empathize with the guy, and
we got to start penalizing him because, like, come on, Zach. Like, he
just
legitimately he sets up at address like he's going to hit a golf shot, but then does this practice swing. Like,
yeah.
come on, can't we just stand
Just
like a
move
foot
off a
away
little,
from the
bud.
ball, Zach? Like,
Just
like
just move off a bit.
fool me once, right? But what was the one at the one at Sawgrass? That one may have been the furthest one that he's hit as this quote unquote practice swing, right? That one that it left the tee box, didn't it?
Crushed it. That's the true walk. There's a lot of walk of shames out there. That one might be the most humiliating. So anyway, shout out to him, and shout out to that. So I'm gonna go with him and send him some better vibes.
Man, can't even. All right. For my last pick, I'm gonna go with Jason Day. Super sad. So he was playing pretty well to start the year, but I guess his mom had been battling some health issues for quite a while. So she just recently passed away. So he's been away uh, from the tour, but so really, bummer for him. He's been playing pretty well though. So I'm thinking, hoping that as he's prepping up for Augusta, hoping to keep that good run of form going for him.
I like it. Love me some Jason Day for sure. Okay, my last kind of sleeper pick is gonna be I'm gonna go Kevin Tway. A little K Tway action. He's the Pierce of the group. If we were matching up PGA Tour players, Pierce is. I've always said he's K Tway with a little lerp dog and his long swing. So yeah, I got some good vibes for him. Don't really know why, but that's where we're going.
Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting. You said it's always tough to have a tournament before a major, and then especially this one slotting in before literally the biggest tournament on the schedule. So always going to be a little bit of a lull. But I mean, the field, having not looked at the field before we recorded tonight, I was surprised that it's a decent field. So
for sure. So it should be good. And I know it was really fun watching Spieth, and I almost picked him, but that's going to be tough to repeat there. And I'm a little worried. You mentioned you're a little worried about Spieth, and I try not to get too much into that with Spieth specifically, but I'm a little nervous. But hopefully, again, Augusta will be just what he needs to find that form. Who I am worried about is Finau. Are we worried about Finau making the President's Cup team? Like it's not looking good.
I'm worried about him making. I'm worried about him making the playoffs.
Which is just it's a weird
125
concept, right?
people make it in there. Yeah, you win. You get like 3 top 10s, and you're gonna make it. But yeah, he's struggling. Like he late added the Valero Texas Open, so he's clearly trying to to find something. So
hate to see that. But, can't send enough good vibes his way. But yeah, it's tough.
Same thing though. He's had a lot of success at Augusta though.
For
So
sure.
maybe it's one of those things you drive down Magnolia Lane and
It all comes back.
something deep within the bones.
For sure. I'm hoping for that. And yeah, I'm pumped about that. We won't get too much into the match. We'll definitely talk about that this next week and kind of, previewing it and spending some more time there. But I am excited. As of now, I don't know. It seems of hearing these rumblings that the cat is out there walking to try and get his body into shape and seeing if he can pull
grinding, absolutely grinding at medalist right now. So I was what yes or no, do you think he's playing?
I'll say sure. Yeah, I think he will. I definitely, like, if you would ask me just even like a month ago, I'd be like, heck no. Or even like when he did the father-son thing, I'm like, there's no way. The Masters is too close. But I don't know. It just, for whatever reason, just something in me that I even knowing that, I don't know. I feel terrible saying, but it doesn't really get me that excited. Like, I love Tiger. Like, it's sick what he's done. I don't know what good it does to just, kind of come in and stretch his body like that and, shoot a 79. It's just kind of like, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. That could be a hot take, could be stupid. That's just my first instinct is like, I feel like I'd get more excited with something else. Like we've talked about, like the St. Andrews thing, like with that course, it just seems like Augusta's a tough walk. And I don't know how, with his experience, I feel like he can get around and, maybe not totally shoot in the 80s, but it would be awesome. And he's proved me wrong so many times on that opinion, but I don't know. If he plays, it'll be sick to watch for sure. I just think it might just be a 2-day thing for him, but that's just my opinion. It's just, anyway, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't even know if I think he's playing or not. I have a hard time, and granted, I don't know how much he is playing right now at the
no
medalist.
idea.
He's just like,
follow.
you see one video
of
him, you see one video of him like walking around and playing golf down there. So, and then instantly it's like, oh, he's playing all day trying to get ready. So
yeah.
But I do, just knowing who he is, like he's very controlling of his image, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I have a hard time knowing how people would react to seeing him playing golf.
Mm-hmm.
I have a hard time seeing him choosing this time to go out in public and play golf if he wasn't planning on trying to make
and letting those
trip.
people know for sure. And that was kind of my thought. I'm like, this is starting to rumble the 2 weeks before. Like, yeah, it's probably, I think he's done enough of training where he kind of feels like, yeah, like I could play. So yeah, but his boy, his boy Phil has been asked in the tournament, to not play. Like, so anyway, it'll be good.
It'll
be sick.
As far as him playing in the tournament though, like I would still, I need some time to think about that. So
yeah, I don't know.
As far as like what I think about him
cuff,
playing, so
maybe that's like a total mistake and people are going to come at me for it, but I don't know. That's just kind of, cool. Like, I just don't know what good seeing him go out and shooting a bunch is really going to do. But
yeah, I'll say I don't need him to play for me to enjoy it.
Yeah, right. Same. That's a good, yeah. It's a good way to put it. And but anyway, it's gonna be awesome. I already have kind of my in mind. I'll save them, but I kind of have my picks and who I think is who could win it. And I'm excited, man. There's nothing like it. So we'll get a dive into that this next week. But I mean, anything else or
I got to shout out Dustin Johnson playing in the third place consolation match. Just absolute pace of play goals, right? As soon as DJ crashed out of the match play, they made him stick around to play that third place match, and it's just there's nowhere else Dustin Johnson like had less of a desire to be, right? Like the length of putts he was conceding in that third place match was just, they were generous.
Get me off the golf course stat.
Cameras couldn't even catch up to him getting his swings in. Just it was impressive. It was pace of play that all golfers should strive for.
Not even mad. It's amazing.
So I
Oh,
gotta shout him out because nothing's faster than DJ playing a round he's checked out of. So
oh, and you can only imagine with how he is already. So put him in there. But I mean, that match was I at that point too. It's like for the average Joe, that match was probably worth, I don't know, gotta be over six figures, right? Like between
oh
who
yeah,
wins.
so it was funny because I mean, always lost so much of my golf content comes from no laying up. But as soon as Dustin Johnson lost, they tweeted out, say, we're about to find out how much $167,000 means to Dustin Johnson, because that's the difference between third and fourth place payout.
167. Wow.
Yeah, that's just the difference, right? So I don't
Yeah, he
even, I
couldn't
mean,
even.
I the winner got like 2.5 million. So I have to imagine third place probably cleared close to a
Yeah.
million maybe. But yeah, I just thought it was funny. Like DJ's like, I got better places to be.
We know a play with speculation. We think we know where that might be, but we'll hold off on that.
Allegedly. Throw that disclaimer in there.
Oh man, that's good stuff. All right. Well, anything else? Any other shout outs you got or anything else you want to discuss?
It's same thing as always, right? I could go for hours and hours, right? But gotta gotta save something for future episodes, even though we will never run out of stuff to talk about.
No, this is just the beginning, and
Oh,
yeah, some fun
but
stuff coming. So
for our poor listeners though, who got to sit through an hour and a half of me yakking, I salute you.
hey, it's all just we'll shout out. Someone reached out and said they were, I don't even remember, like at the park or somewhere with their kid, and they were listening to the podcast, and it just got them itching to play golf. And that was like the best thing I've heard all year. I'm like, dude, that is what it's all about. Like 100%. That's what we want to do. So, for all the listeners out there, besides, our moms, we love you. We appreciate you. And if you have any feedback, any thoughts, anything you want us to cover, or change, or do whatever, like, please, send it our way. We love the insight. And again, still just kind of getting our foot in the door with the video stuff and realizing what a feat that is. But have this stuff coming out. We put the little teaser clip on the TikTok. We'll put it on the Instagram, just kind of teeing up. And shout out to my wife for kind of helping with that. It's no small feat, man. So but again, it's gonna be worth it and fun. So looking forward to getting it out and some other things coming up, like I mentioned, with some of the guys we've met, and kind of expanding this to some other creative ideas and what their expertise is, and leveraging that. And it's gonna be fun, what it's all about. So if you're still listening, we love you. We appreciate you. And well, anything else, Shawn? Last shout outs? Anything you want to give? You want to shout out the little guy, the little my number one Rory out there? Any shout outs
Yeah,
for him and what y'all are doing with him? I think it's pretty cool, and
yeah,
would love to hear about that, actually, if you don't mind.
yeah. So so he put me on the spot a little bit.
No, sorry, I just
Um,
it can't, it just hit me, and I'm like, this is what
yeah,
a
so we
supposed to put it up.
yeah, so we are doing, so the month of April is HIE awareness. And um, HIE is a condition that basically what it means is at some point there's an event that causes lack of oxygen that restricts blood flow to the brain. And so like when our son Rory was born, he was born having seizures. And so we spent week and a half, 2 weeks in the NICU. They ran a bunch of tests. Finally, they ran a brain MRI, and they were able to identify this condition that he had. So basically, at some point, he lost oxygen before he was born, and it caused pretty extensive brain damage. And so we don't really know. There's a huge wide range of outcomes with this condition. So just kind of, we have to play it sort of day by day. We don't really know full extent of what will happen. But saying all that, April is HIE Awareness Month, which is the condition that he has. So as part of that, we are involved with a fundraiser where we're signed up, and we're doing a virtual 5K where we're getting family and friends together. We're going to all run a 5K, and then with that, we've got kind of a link that you can donate to HIE Foundation, just in Rory's name. So I'll be throwing some stuff out on like my personal Instagram page here in the next couple of days, just as we ramp up to prep for that 5K. Yeah, I know it's just something that hits close to home, obviously, but we're excited this weekend. We've had a lot of people donate, which is really sweet, and I've just had so much support from everybody with him. And it's obviously your life, and as well as anyone, but your life changes so much as you have kids, right? And it's just crazy how much I could joke like, oh yeah, golf is life, but I mean that's it just it's a completely different thing, right? Like having kids, like that really is life, and family. That's the most important thing, and golf's just kind of a side thing we can enjoy. So there's yeah,
Sure.
that's what we got going on. So yeah, thanks for that shout out. And like I said, I'll put some stuff on my page to kind of link more of what HIE is, as well as what we're trying to do with it. So
love it. Yeah, we'll throw it on ours too. So if anyone wants to do that too, it's awesome. And he's just the cutest kid you've ever seen. So you just take one look at a smile and just give him all your monies.
I will say to tie it back to golf. So just one of the things that I don't know if it's like the cause of his condition or whatnot, but he does struggle to eat a little bit. So we found that we have to kind of distract him to get him to eat. So one thing we'll do is we'll watch TV and feed him, and he kind of hones on that and eats. Then this previous week, because obviously I watch a lot of golf, when my wife turns on the TV to feed him, golf was just on, and she was saying that for whatever reason, that's what he was vibing with the best last week to feed. So he watched as much match play as I did, I think, because he was chowing down. He had some of his best eating days all watching golf. So that was a very proud dad moment.
That's my boy. Golf's coming full circle. It's not only giving us physical substance to Rory, it's giving us, mental strength and all things needed. So love it.
And with it, we took him when I went to the range on Saturday. We took him for the first time, and he just had an absolute blast, just sitting there smiling away. So
watching Daddy pure it.
Hoping golf's in his future.
100%.
So
100%. That's awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing, man. But good way to end it. And again, as always, a pleasure. And we'll circle back, and we're gonna do this again next week for a Masters preview. So, and some other fun stuff coming up. So looking forward to it. So we'll do this next week.
Peace.
Keep striving.